Morning to all. Happy Sunday. I hope you are all doing well this Sunday morning. Okay, uh, let's begin with the session. So, let's revise what we learned yesterday, the concepts which we have learned yesterday. Okay, so let's directly jump with the machine. I've already started this machine just to save the time. Okay. Uh, so our users are still present, which we have created yesterday. Osboxer.org was pre-created and regex was created by us and not listed. Let's go inside the root. I hope by now you know what is the real meaning of root. Okay. Let's wait for a couple of minutes or seconds to jump towards desktop. Okay. Here we are. Here we are again. Our directories are still here. Ashutosh underscore directory, regex, everything is here. So just for the quick revision of 5 minutes of yesterday's session, what you learned is we learned what is the how to print out the present working directory, how to list the contents, hidden contents, and how to list a long listing. And we have learned about file handling, how to make a directory, how to make a parent directory, and hidden files. Okay, and how do you use the redirection? What is the append? And what is the use of sudo? Okay, what is the use of h/etc/sudoers file, how to create a user, how to delete a user. Okay, so these are the concepts which you learned. Okay, congratulations to you all. So we have learned pretty much concepts of Linux, but some of them are still missing. Okay, obviously we are not covering too much advanced Linux in this like the advanced networking and everything. Okay, so this is just for the beginners, and today we'll start the concepts which are obviously for only the beginners only. So we'll start with the very basics. Okay, again. So let's say let's begin in just a minute. So what we are trying to do over here is today, firstly I'm going to show you how to install a respective software, okay, in Linux. Okay, but uh, you need to keep something in mind. Okay, for the CentOS there's a difference. For CentOS side, the softwares are available over internet. They're not available locally in your machine. Okay, available, let's say right here. The softwares are available over the internet. Okay, there's no as such local repository which is available with this CentOS. You can clone them locally, but that obviously this will take much greater time because the softwares are too much and they are available over the internet. And for that thing, you need to, if you need to clone or if you need a copy of those respective softwares locally. Okay, so you need to do some copy or clone then some or those softwares in a local machine, which will obviously take time. But if you're using Red Hat, okay, if we are using Red Hat, in case of Red Hat, you can configure your softwares in a local machine. Red Hat, you can configure on the local machine. On the local machine. But wait, you haven't told, Ashutosh, you haven't told us that where are the softwares actually located. Okay, at which directory, which files, and everything. Have patience. Let's do step by step everything. I hope you're getting these points. For the CentOS OS or Linux, the softwares are available over the internet, but we can configure it. We can add our local softwares too. Okay, this is exception. Okay, we can add our local softwares too in the repository. Okay, I'm going to tell you where the repository is. Don't worry. For the Red Hat side, we can configure it on the local machine or on the cloud. Anyway. issues in that. Okay, so let's begin directly. That how to install a software and how to configure them, how to list all the softwares which are present, how to grab any kind of softwares which you are looking for. I am going to tell you what is the grab command. Don't worry. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so here's my CentOS machine. Nothing is here. I mean, something is here, that the directories and some the configuration files and everything. So the softwares are located at a specific location. Okay, and there's a tool. Then there's a tool with uh, for the CentOS and till Red Hat 7, Red Hat 7.5. Okay, till CentOS and Red Hat 7.5. There's a tool that is known as Yum. Till Red Hat 7.5. After Red Hat 7.5 in the Red Hat 8, there's a tool that is known as DNF, which we are not going to cover in this class. Okay, so Yum we are going to use to install the softwares. If you have some familiar background with Ubuntu, where you use aptf and get, okay, you install those softwares by apt. But in case of CentOS or Red Hat or Fedora, we use Yum, or for the newer versions of Linux, we use DNF. Okay, DNF install and everything. Okay, no issues with that. So now what we need to do is we're going to install some specific softwares. Okay, so let's begin. But where are these respective softwares are located? That's the whole question. Where are these respective softwares? So let's create this mess, and I want to go to /etc. Okay, obviously etc contains all the configuration files which I told you in the last session. Okay, /etc/yum .repos.d simply indicates that this is a directory. Okay, repos simply means the repositories where all the respective softwares are present. Okay, let's go inside this. Perfect. Let's list the items what are available here. Okay, some of the files are present. CentOS -base.repo, CentOS -debug info.repo, repo, fasttrack.repo, sources.repo. Okay, but what are these files? What actually is the role of these specific files? Okay, guys, these files contains the softwares which you can install. Okay, but the only concern over here is the extension of these respective files should be .repo. Okay, I hope you're getting the points. The extensions of these respective files should be .repo. .repo simply indicates that this is a repository from where you can install the softwares. Sorry, from where you can install the respective softwares. Okay, or let's open this file for more clearance. CentOS-base.repo. Oh boy, what is this actually? This is nothing. This is some kind of a source. You can name it anything. Okay, you can name anything. Let's say you can name it CentOS, you can name it AWS, you can name it regexs, anything. Okay, so and this bracket one. Okay, and you need to give uh, the specific, let's say this name is not mandatory, you can give the name over here. Okay, so mirror list is simply means that where the softwares are present. Okay, either you can use the base URL or the mirror list simply is some kind of a replica which is available, but don't worry. Okay, and base URL is almost the same thing, but mirror list is the replica. GPG check concept. GPG check simply means that if you are installing any respective software, that means that respective software is need to be verified before installation. If you set up this GPG check to 0, the software installation won't be verified. It will be directly installed. Okay, so there is some kind of certification available. So GPG key is the key which is used, which is available in this local machine. Obviously this is file colon, don't worry, we'll get this concept. That means it will be verified from here. Okay, and everything is configured if this GPG key is set to 1. Okay, I hope you're getting these concepts. GPG key simply means you need to uh, verify that respective software you are installing before installation. Okay, so how can I use the softwares? How can I see the respective softwares? How to use and actually list all them. Okay, so there's a concept available. Let's come out of this thing. But as you can see, there are many repositories available to install the respective softwares. Okay, CentOS 7 base, debug, fast track, CR, vault, media, sources, and everything. But I want to list all these softwares that actually what softwares are present with me. Okay, you can do this. So let's begin. Okay, so let's go inside of home directory. I'm going to run a command yum repo list. Yum simply is a tool to install a software. Repo list simply means I want the list of all the softwares or all the repositories which are present inside this machine. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, oh boy. So in here, let's clear this mess. Yum repo list. Okay, so this is the repo ID and base, extras, update, and there are total 13,028 softwares are available. Okay, CentOS FNC base contains 10,000 softwares, extras contain 498 softwares, updates contain 2,458 softwares. Okay, so this is the total softwares which are available 13,028 softwares. Okay, so this is the whole concept. Okay, uh, okay, I mean I'll increase the font. Don't worry, my bad. Actually, I forgot that thing. View, zoom in. Okay, guys, is this visible? Please let me know is this visible in the chat. Can someone please confirm in the chat it is visible? Okay, thank you, Vibhor, and everyone else. So let's begin with this thing. So what we're going to do is, uh, let's go inside a repository again. cd slash yum slash etc slash yum dot repos dot t. I was telling this thing. Okay, so these I'm going to repeat this in a very fast manner. So these are all the repositories. How can I get to know that these are repositories? So the extension is .repo. .repo simply means that these are repositories. Okay, from where you can install respective softwares. Okay, and if you go inside any of them, CentOS base.repo. Okay, so this is a file which contains all of the configurations. Okay, so you can name it anything. Okay, for the mirrored list is some kind of a replica where all the softwares are present. As I told you, the CentOS repositories are not local, so it will fetch the softwares from any internet service or any kind of website or something which is verified. Okay, so obviously this is going to check up the softwares on the centos.org, mirrorlist.centos.org. This is a replica. Okay, so now uh, the GPG check simply over here means that the softwares which are going to install will be verified before installation, and this is a GPG key file which is used for the verification purposes. Okay, so this is a very good high level idea which I told you earlier also. So I'm not going to spend too much time in this. Clear this out. So let's run this command again. Yum repo list. Yum simply means Yum is a tool which is used to install software, list the softwares, remove the softwares, and everything. Repo is a repository, and list simply means that I need to list all the repositories which are present in this machine. Okay, let's do this. Okay, something is coming. Oh wow, CentOS 7-base, which contains 10,072 softwares. Okay, and CentOS 7 extra contain 498 softwares, And the updates repository contains 2,458 softwares. Okay, and the total is 13,028 softwares. Okay, this is huge. I mean, 13,000 softwares are present. Okay, cool. Let's clear this terminal. Uh, okay, but which softwares are present, boss? Which softwares are present? Let's say there are many softwares are present. We cannot list them all. Okay, so let's begin with this thing. Okay, I want to install a specific software, or I want to check that is any respective software which I'm looking for is present or not. Okay, so let's check yum list. Okay, yum list. Let's execute this normal yum list command. Let's see what will happen. Let's see. Oh, okay. So these are pretty much softwares which are present. Oh boy, Python, Perl, PCP, oh libraries. This is a bunch of softwares which are present with us right now. Okay, so but I want a specific software. Yeah, I don't want to list them all, and I just want my specific software. I just want one software to be installed of my choice, and I want to list that is that specific software is present. Okay, so let's check this out. I want to install a software by which I can create a small web server in this machine, which can serve the public. Obviously, this is the local web server, but just for testing purposes. Okay, and the software's name is HTTPD for the CentOS or the Red Hat thing. And the Apache HTTPD, which if you have familiar background with Ubuntu, we use Apache 2, but here we use HTTPD. So the software which we are looking for is HTTPD. Okay, so let's check this out. Yum list HTTPD. Let's run this command for an instance. Okay, this software is present, obviously. HTTPD.86_64 and everything. Okay, this software is present. Okay, but I want some of the modifications also. I want is there any other operating sorry is there any other HTTPD software present? Is there any other software present? Yes, we can do this. There's a command, but which is not dedicated to Yum. There's a command that is known as grep. Okay, grep simply grab the data which you are asking for. Okay, and generally it is used with this vertical bar or a pipe. Okay, so what's going to happen over here is, let's say you are searching something. Okay, in our case we are searching for yum list. Okay, and I want the software which is available is HTTPD. Okay, now what the grep command will do and what this pipe symbol or the technically known as vertical bar symbol will do, whatever the output, understand this thing guys please, whatever the output of this, my god, whatever the output of this respective command yum list, whatever will be the output, it will be thrown inside this pipe as an input, and output will be come out of this other end, and the grab command will grab that respective output and will grab all the HTTPD pattern which is found, like H is found, T is found, T is found, P is found, D is found. So it will work on the pattern. Let's check another example. Let's say if you want a big file is present with you, a great file is present with you which contains thousands of lines. Okay, if you want to list a word, let's say regex. get regex grep, sorry, list the file name, big file, let's say, big file .txt, let's say, and I want to grab the word regex. Okay, so now the big file contains many lines and everything. Thousands of lines are present, but I want just the word regex. Okay, so what you can do is, what it will do, whatever the output of this cat command, this big file command, sorry, big file, uh, this text file. My God, my drawing is not that much good. Whatever the output of this whole half of the portion will be thrown inside this input of this pipe. Okay, and now the output of this, whatever the output will be given to grep command, and the grep command will grab this respective pattern and print all the words which will match this respective pattern. Regex, 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 regex. Okay, so this is the core concept. You can modify this grep command also if you want. Let's say the regex may be like this, regex maybe this, or regex may be anything like this, regex, anything, anything. But you want all of them. You don't want only this respective pattern where all the chemical, all the capital letters are present, and you also want this respective pattern also. Everything you want. You don't want to lose any kind of pattern. Okay. So what it will do is you can use a grep -i command regex. -i simply do, it will match all of the respective patterns. Either it is camel case, capital, small, and anything. -i is used for that. Okay, so this is the core concept. Okay, cool. So I hope you're getting all these respective concepts. So let's begin with this thing. Okay, let's create this terminal. Now I want to grab this HTTP. Okay, look, many other many other HTTPD patterns are present. HTTPD table, manual, tools, key, clock, HTTPD, lib, micro, HTTPD, everything. Python 2, key, clock, HTTP client installer, no arc. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so now, as you can see, this is in red color, this is in red color, everything is in red color, which is pattern matched. So this is the core concept of grep. Grep is the greatest powerful, kind of command which is available in the Linux or the macOS. Okay, so let's clear this terminal. Okay, so now how to install this HTTPD software. Okay, so yum install HTTPD. Okay, let's execute this command, enter. Okay, let's wait for a couple of seconds to be installed. Till then, you can concentrate more. Okay, it is asking me for yes and D and no, but I'm going to say yes. Okay, boss. As I told you, it will ask you for, this. Okay, I'm going to show the output again. As I showed you guys, please concentrate on this respective concept over here, that before installation, it is showing me that this is the fingerprint which of the software which you are going to install. Please concentrate over here, guys. This is an important concept if you're preparing for any Linux and jobs or DevOps jobs. Okay, so this is the fingerprint of the respective concept, or sorry, software, and this is the package, and from this JPG kit is coming, and it is retrieving the key file from the local file. Okay, so this is the core thing. After the user verification, or from or anyone who is installing the respective software, it will ask, do you want to install the software or not? Because as you can see, it has asked me twice to install the software. I've told yes, and again it asked me to install the software, yes or no, after the proper verification of the fingerprint, the package, and the user ID and everything. Okay, so this is the concept of JPG key. Okay, so this is the whole concept, that why GPG key is important. But that this is only, much more greater for the production servers or everything. But this is much diverted towards the security, which is a great thing. Okay, so now let's install any other software. Okay, so I want to list again, is there any software present? Okay, VSFTPD, which is obviously for the FTP server. Okay, so now VSFTPD software is present. What is FTP server? You don't need to understand what actually the FTP server is. Okay, so FTP is a file transfer protocol, but let's install another software. So yum install VSFTPD, and I don't want to say yes, 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 yes again. Let's take a shortcut, -y. Yum install VSFTPD -y, enter. Okay, it's doing something. Okay, it haven't asked me to install the software, yes or no. Cool. This is so great, right? Cool. Everything is installed. I think it is not asking. Yeah, it's done. Okay, so cool. But there's one more modification you can do with this. There's one more modification you can do it with the software installation. Obviously, this software installation is making too much noise. Okay, it is giving so much of the output and bigger output and everything. Let's check any other software. Yum, let's say yum list. Is MySQL present? Let's check this. Yum list grep MySQL. MySQL have a connector. rsyslog MySQL. Any native MySQL software is not present, I think. Let's check for the SQL one. Some of the SQL softwares are present. SQLite is present. SQLite. But I don't know what SQLite, bro. PostgreSQL. Okay, I think it's not present. Let's check for the PHP. I want to show you something, guys. Please bear with me. Okay, PHP is present, I think. PHP present. Okay, PHP is version 5.4. Oh my god, PHP's oldest version is present over here. Say hello to the PHP 5.4. So I'm going to install this PHP thing. Okay, so obviously this is making too much of the noise. Okay, let's show you this again. Okay, so if I execute yum install PHP, and obviously our beloved shortcut -y. Okay, so let's start. Okay, this, as you can see, this is giving too much output on the screen, that yes, yes, this is installing from that link and everything, and respective versions, verifying, installation. But I don't want too much of the noise, to be really honest. Okay, I don't want this kind of, this much output on my screen, to be really honest. Okay, but I want to clear this thing here. I just want, if I run any respective software, or any kind of thing which is giving the output, and which is making too much of the noise, giving too much of the output on the screen. But I want the clean installation, guys, please. Okay, so what we can do is we can do the thing which we learned in yesterday's session. Okay, we can redirect this respective the output which is coming from this respective command to a file that is known as /dev/null. /dev/null is a file which is always and always empty. You cannot keep anything in this. What is null means? Null means nothing. As you use the null values in the SQL thing. Okay, if you're familiar with SQL. Okay, so you can redirect the output of this. Let's take a screenshot. Okay, so now let's concentrate over here, guys, please. I want the output of this command to be redirected in this file, and /dev/null file is always empty. There is nothing in this file. You can redirect anything, it will be always and always and always empty. So Ashutosh, what is the real use case of this? Come on, the real use case of this is whatever the output will come out of this, this yum install php-y thing. Okay, so much is printed on the screen, blah 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 blah, for verifying from this, verifying from that. Here's the GPG key, here is something, this is a respective version and everything. But I don't want this kind of, you know uh, information. I want a clean installation without any kind of too much noise. Okay, so I can redirect that output to this file. Okay, so let's check this out. So I think we have installed a PHP already. So let's check if the Git is available. Oh boy, Git pattern is too much. Git is available. Okay, now what is Git? If you're familiar with Git, very well. If you're not, it is okay. Grab Git. I want to install Git. Yum install Git, and our beloved shortcut -y. But to be really honest, I don't want any kind of noise. I just want a clean installation without seeing too much of the output on my screen. I want to redirect it to /dev/null. Okay, perfect. Okay. Is the software installing? Is installing? Let's wait for a moment. Cross a finger, guys. Cross a fingers, please. Okay, I think installed. There are no as such errors in front of my screen. So if you want to verify, is any respective software is present in your machine or not? So what you can do is you can use a command known as rpm, okay, -q, and the name of the software. Okay, rpm simply means a Red Hat package manager, and you're querying that package manager, that is this respective software is present or not. Let's check this out. Okay, Git is present. Okay, let's check Is MySQL present? MySQL is not installed. Okay, let's check. Is PHP is already present, so let's check for any another software. Which software? VSFTPD we have installed. Oh, okay. I'm not getting any kind of such. Let's check for a Docker. Docker is not installed, or Docker-C. Docker-C is not installed. Okay, obviously. So because we haven't installed this respective software, these are not present. I hope you got the concept of this yum install git-y/dev/null. This file will be always be empty. I hope you got the concepts. Okay, so clear this out. So let's check another concept. Guys, as I've told you, yum cd/etc/yum .repos.d. Guys, as I told you that every software, please concentrate here. This is a great important concept. The software is fetched from the internet by these repositories. And if I want the local softwares, I don't want that the softwares will be fetched from the internet. I want the softwares to be present locally in my machine. So either you can do is clone them, but it will obviously take much time because the softwares are around 13,000 or something. Oh boy. And if the server is failed, or if anything is failed, obviously your connection is failed. Obviously it will stuck in between. Okay, so now what you need to do is, if I want any local repository present, so what can I do? Guys, I have some setup which I have settled up this before. So I have some files with me. Okay, so what we can do is, there's so much of software present. .rpm, EPL release, and many softwares are present with this. These are many softwares, but these are all the local softwares. Local means this is present in my local machine. These are not available over the internet. Okay, so this respective folder is important. The repo data one. Okay, it will verify that everything is these respective softwares are installable. Okay, so if I want these softwares on my Windows host, I want to shift these softwares from my Windows host to my Linux machine. Is it possible right now? Okay, yes, it is possible. That many softwares are present, like Ansible, containers have an Linux, Docker CE, EPL release, many softwares are present. But the extension will be RPM, Red Hat Package Manager. Okay, so many softwares are present. So I want to shift these softwares from my this Windows host to my this Linux virtual machine. Okay, so is this possible? Okay, yes, it is possible. How? There's a software. There's a software that is known as WinSCP. There's a software that is known as WinSCP. Now, what is SCP? Before directly jumping to the SCP thing, what is SCP? SCP is the full form of SCP is secure copy. But before this, let's make some more space for our beloved students. Okay, SCP. SCP. Sorry, SCP. SCP simply means what's happening. Okay. Okay. SCP. SCP is stands for secure copy. Okay, you can copy any data, any directory, or any file from one host to another host. Either it is Windows or Linux, Linux to Windows, or Linux to Linux, anything. So there is a dedicated command in Linux also that is known as SCP. SCP command, secure copy command. We'll use this command, don't worry. SCP and the host and the name, the IP of the respective host, the username of that respective host, and from where to where copy this respective file. Let's say if I have that respective file in my host one at the place /etc/ashutosh, and I want this file to be copied on another Linux machine. So I want what should I require? I want the IP of that respective machine. I want the username on which we are going to copy that file. Let's say root, but this is not the best practice. And the location from to where I do need to copy slash. Let's say obviously this is best practice to do to copy in the /tmp. So the another user on that respective machine can copy uh, uh, of their respective requirement as per their needs. This is always the best practice to copy in the /tmp on another machine. /tmp simply means the temporary files. Okay, so this is the thing. But how can you do this? But just bear with me, guys. Okay, bear with me, guys. We'll see this thing. But for now, I want to copy from my Windows host this respective software to my Linux machine. Okay, but this is a software present that is WinSCP. Okay, which is dedicated for the Windows. Okay, so we can use this. But for that, I want to grab the of my machine. So how to check the IP of this machine? Okay, so let's check this out. So I want the IP. So in case of Windows, the command is known as ipconfig. But in case of Linux, the command is ifconfig. The output is again big output. This is again a big output, ifconfig. Oh boy, what a mess is this. So everything which is present over here, the ENP0S3, LO, and this Viber, or what is this thing is Viber 0, VIR 0. These all are something that is known as network cards. Okay, but this is the IP of our machine. This is the network card which is attached. But let's say I want the only ENP0S3's output. So what I can do is, let's clear this terminal for an instance. So ifconfig ENP0S3, which is my network card. Okay. Okay. Somewhat output it is getting shorter, but to be really honest, I don't want ether everything, this respective output, RX packets, errors packets, bytes, overruns, carrier, collisions, and everything. I don't want. Let's say I want only the subnet mask, the broadcast, and everything. Okay, but my main concern for now is my IP. Okay, and then the word behind that respective IP is INET. I always remember this thing. So I just want to grab my IP. Okay. So what I can do is, let's grab this thing, use our beloved grab command. Grab INET. Okay. This is much more clearer and much shorter output. INET, this is the IP or for machine. Okay. So let's clear this thing. 192.168.1.21. Please remember this, guys. Okay. Let's open this as software, winscb.exe, executable file. Now, I want to copy that respective file to my Linux machine. So 192.168.1.21. I would, why, there's a concept of the host name. I want to enter the IP, and the username will be root, and the password will be that given password. I think I'm connecting. Okay, I'm connected. Okay, so let's move towards the desktop. So here we are. So this is my Windows host on the left hand side, and this is my Linux machine on the right hand side. Okay, this is Windows and this is Linux. Okay, so I want to copy this rel 75 rpm extras folders to my desktop of my Linux machine. Okay, so this is obviously the Linux machine which we have made the directories in the last session. Okay, ashtray underscore directory and the regex. Now I want to copy this. I want to move this from here to here. This is the GUI. So let's grab this thing and boom, it's copying. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, it is copied. So let's close this and check our Linux machine is that software is present. CD desktop. Okay, it is present. Rel 7 underscore 5 RPM extras. Congratulations, and we are the winner over here, as you can see from the GUI too. Okay, so good. Okay, but as I told you, the softwares are present in this respective directory. Many softwares are present. Okay. So, but now I want to link somehow I want to link this thing that this is a directory where all the respective softwares are present, where I've just copied from them from my Windows host to my Linux machine. Okay, and somehow I want to link my that respective that software directory yum.repos.d. I want to link this directory to my this respective software directory, that you can fetch those softwares from here also. The softwares are present here also. Just label this if you are getting confused. This is a directory which is just copied. Just copied directory. And this is yum directory. Yum.repos. Okay. So somehow I want to link this yum.repos.d, that hey yum.repos.d directory. Some of the softwares are present here also. You can fetch the softwares from here also. Okay. So how can we do this? As per the yum.repos.d directory, the files which are present.repo.repo files. So those respective files are fetching the softwares from the internet. Are fetching the softwares from the internet. Fetching the softwares from the internet. But now I want to fetch these softwares from my local directory also. Obviously, it will fetch from the internet also. But I'll create my own custom.repo file. Custom repo file. You can give any name, but the extension should be .repo. Custom repo file that yes, some of the softwares are present here also, and you can fetch it from there. Okay, so let's begin with this thing. Don't worry, this is not too much complicated. Okay, so here we are. So we need to first, what we need to do is we need to copy the path of where the respective softwares are present. Okay, So how to get the path from the starting till this respective point? Our beloved pwd command, present working directory, and here we got the path. Slash root slash desktop slash rel 7 underscore 5 underscore rpm underscore express. So let's copy this path. We are going to tell that here are all the respective softwares are present. Let's copy this path and let's go. Let's create one file. Let's create one file in slash etc slash yum.repos.d. Okay. So let's create one file vim slash etc slash yum.repos.d, and let's create a file. Let's say regex.repo. The extension should be always repo. Okay. So you can give any name. I'm going to give this name regex. Okay. And now you need to give the base URL from where to fetch the respective softwares. Base URL equals to, you can copy the respective path from where the softwares are coming, and now you don't want to verify the softwares for an instance, so gpg check equals to 0. Let's test this thing. Is this thing is working or not? Clear. So I want the softwares from the regex repo also. So yum repo list. Okay. Oh boy. Only 13,028 softwares are present. But how? Do we missing something? Are we seriously missing something? Because we copied everything, right? We have copied the path, we copied uh, everything. Let's open this file again. Okay, regex is present, base URL is present, GPG check is 0 is present. So what is missing? What actually we are missing here? Okay, let's check this out again. Let's check this out again. Yum repo list. Don't worry, this is for the CentOS side. It is checking for the mirrors, the replicas. But still, I cannot see any softwares from the regex repo. But how? This is the reason. I'm going to show you the reason. Okay. The reason is we are fetching the softwares from the local file. So we need to tell this repository that this base URL is local. So how to tell this thing? You can use the file colon slash slash. Sorry, file colon slash slash. Okay, let's check this out. Let's zoom out for a second. Okay. Yum repo list. Okay, congratulations. Some of the softwares is fetching from the regex repo, and total softwares are 13,127. Okay, perfect. So I hope you're getting this concept. What we were missing was you need to tell explicitly that this respective file from where you are fetching the softwares is present locally. So how you can tell that this is present locally? You need to give this file, you need to add this file name, file colon double slash, and the path towards this from where to fetch the respective softwares to install in a Linux machine. Okay, so now what we can do is let's clear this terminal. So now we have attached that how to check, how to use the the softwares which are local. So I've installed HTTPD software, if you remember, guys. So let's create one web server. Okay. So for that, I need to I need to start the service of that web server. But before that, okay, let's create one file. So to create the file for the web server thing, you need to create one file in /var/www/html. This is the real path. Either you can change that path in the document root also, but this is kind of advanced thing. But I'm going to create one file index.html. Okay, let's write something to this file. This is coming from CentOS machine. Okay, so I think everything is fine. But now let's check if we are able to check this, output or not. Let's grab the IP again. ifconfig enp0s3 colon not grab inet 192.168.1.21. Let's check if we are able to see that respective page. 192.168.1.21. So 192.168.1. Okay, it is not working. It is not working. It is not working. So what's the issue? What's the actual issue over here? Okay. So what we are missing here, guys, let's check something for this respective thing. As you have given the file and everything, you need to start the service. You need to start the service to access the web server, or any service you need to start to access that respective software. Okay, so to start the service is a command from the systemctl start http. Okay, but how to verify that this service is started or not? We can check the status of that service. Okay, it is active and it is running. But obviously this is a bigger output, and this is mainly used for the troubleshooting thing. You can grab this thing also. Grab active. Okay, it is active and it is running. Okay, so if you want, let's check this thing again. Okay, still we are facing some issues. HTTPD. Nothing. Let's copy this thing again. Let's index.html. Something we are missing. Something we are missing. So what is that something? It is active, everything is working. But if you want that service to be, persist the reboot, if I reboot this machine or if I restart this machine, if you want that service to be always on, you can enable this service. Enable STT. But before that, I want to show that this is disabled. Systemctl status http grab disabled. Yeah, it is disabled. But now I want that this respective service will persist the reboots. So I can enable this thing. Enable. Don't worry with this output has created symlink and everything. The symlink and this is symbolic link, but this is the advanced concept which we are not going to cover in this class. Soft links and hard links, but don't worry. Okay, this is not that much important now. Okay, so let's check if this service is still disabled. No, now it is enabled. You can see the difference. It was disabled before, now it is enabled. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's add something more in that file. vim slash var slash www slash html. Sorry. Okay, let's make this terminal shorter. Yeah, this will create the mess. Index.html. This is coming from CentOS machine, and my name is Ashutosh. So there's some update. Okay, there's some update. So let's restart the service. Okay, service is restarted. Let's check the status. Active. Perfect. Okay, so now let's close that box. So we can check this out right now. Let's confirm the IP ifconfig enp0s3 grab inet 192.168.1.21. Let's check. Let's cross your fingers, guys. 192.168.1.21. What we are missing here? What we are missing here? There is something which we are missing. There is something which is stopping us to access this web server, and that is firewall, the internal firewall. So to flush out that firewall, I'm not going to explain how to set up the firewall and how to configure the firewall D things and everything. There is a command you can directly use, that is IP tables. Okay, but you don't need to go deep dive in this command. Okay, this is just to flush the IP tables. Okay, so this is stopping us to check our web server. Okay, so there's a great concept for the firewall D and many other things, which SLNX things, but we are not going to check all those things. So let's check this out if we are able to see the web server or not. Okay, congratulations. This is coming from CentOS machine. My name is Ashutosh. Okay, perfect. Let's add something else. Obviously, this is HTML, so we can break this line. My name is Ashutosh, and regex is doing fantastic job. Okay. Let's refresh this page if we are able to see this. regex is doing fantastic job. Okay, let's check this out again if we are still able to see this thing. But now I'm not going to check this thing on my web server. I can check this output on my terminal also, directly on my terminal. There's a command. Bear with me. Let's make some edits. regex is doing fantastic job. Let's break this line. I love working at Amazon. Okay, let's clear this thing. So now I don't want to go towards the browser. Okay, I want to check the output on my terminal only directly. So there's a command which we can use directly to check the output of our web server. The command is known as curl command. Okay, curl the IP of our machine 192.168.1.21. Okay, that means the web server returns some of the output. Okay, but how to check if the web server's port is open or not? Obviously, this is working on port number 80. Okay, and the services which are another services like HTTPS, which will obviously work on port number 443. If you have installed any other respective softwares, there the port of those are obviously different. Okay, so how to check those ports? How to check the open ports? Okay, so there's a command which you can use. Okay, but which command? Okay, so now I want to check is the port is open or not. Each respective software has their open port if the clients are able to access those respective services. Okay, so in our case the port is 80. If we were using HTTPS, the port is 443. If someone is using Elasticsearch, the port is 9200. Okay, so this is all the thing. So how to check the open ports? Okay, how to check the open port? The command is known as netstat. Okay, you can give you need to give some of the some of the outputs like netstat happen TNLP. But don't worry, this is not the deep dive. I'm not going to tell you that for some TNLP. There's some of the outputs. Sorry, some of the commands or some of the arguments which you need to give. So now many of the ports are open here. Let's clear this thing. What's happening? Okay, now it's clear. So again, run that respective command. Zoom in for the much more better experience. So netstat hyphen TNLP. So these are all the open ports. For our port is only port number 80, and it is listening. Okay, so this is the thing, TCP and everything. But you can grab that respective port. Okay, port number 22 is for SSH. Okay, so port number 25 is for FTP, which we've installed the software VSFTPD. Okay, so now what you can do is you can grab that also. Grab 80. It is working. Okay, let's clear this terminal. Or if you want the port will not to be 80. If you want the port to be, let's say for an instance, you want the port to be 40, let's say. So what you can do is you can change the configuration file. Okay, so vim/etc/httpd /com.d http.com. Okay, /com, sorry, /com/http.com. So here you can check. This is a great file, which is too much bigger. So you can change the port over here. It is obviously listing on port number 80, but you can change another port. Change it to another port also. And if you want the path on which you are using the file or keeping the file, you can change that file that respective path also. The document root var www.html. You can change that also. Okay, so this is the whole configuration thing. You can explore it on your own also. So for the high level idea, I've told you that how to configure this and everything. Okay, so we have covered a lot today. So there's some more concepts which I'm going to tell you. Okay, so you learned how to install the softwares, how to use the grab command, and how to use SCP and everything. But let's say I want to copy the files from one Linux host to another Linux host. Okay, for that I need another machine, another Linux machine. So let's turn off this machine for a couple of minutes. Let's go to towards my virtual box. Okay, so I want another virtual machine which is as copy as this machine. So what I can do is I can right click this. I can select the clone option over here. I want to reinitialize the MAC address because of which the IPs will be saved if I want to initialize the MAC address. Click next and click on the full clone. Sorry, full clone, the linked clone, which will take much lesser space, but we are not. This is for not our use case. Clone this thing. Let's wait for a couple of minutes, 1 to 2 minutes before it is cloning. Let's wait. It's about to get cloned. It's just wait for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, something is happening. Okay, I think it will take some time, but don't worry. So I hope you're getting the concepts that how you're working actually, the how the yum thing is actually working and everything. So before that, I'm before directly jumping towards SCP, I'm going to go show you the syntax that how to use SCP command. Let's say this is the host. This is your Linux host, Linux one host, and this is another Linux host. This is sorry, this is another Linux host. So you want some other file, text file. Let's say a file that is known as abc.txt, which contains some confidential data. Let's say, and I don't want to keep this file in a pen drive or the hard disk or anything. I just want to directly copy this file via networking to this respective host at a specific location. But obviously the best practice to follow is always to copy the files on the remote server and /tmp directory. Why? Because most of the time in production servers, you don't have access to another directories. Okay. So always remember that but this is not, any kind of hard and fast rule that you need to copy in /tmp directory only, but this is the recommended practice. This is the recommended practice. Okay, so how you can copy this thing? Let's check until till what it is done. Okay, it is about to get complete. No worries. So now, how to copy this thing? We are using something that is known as SCP, a secured copy. Okay, secure copy protocol. Okay, so you need to write SCP. I'm going to show you the syntax over here. SCP, the name of the file abc.txt. Okay, and the username. I think the syntax won't come up here, so I'm going to write the syntax from here. SCP, the file name, okay, and the user on another machine. Let's say the username at the rate the host or the IP of the another Linux host. So IP of host 2, or you can use the host name also, and colon the path. Okay, and that's how the file will be copied directly from this Linux one host to another Linux host. Let's check if it's done or not. Okay, it is done. Let's start both of the machines. It's about to get started. Okay. Let's start on machine 2. So both of the machines are started. So now what you need to do is you just need to copy some of the files from this Linux host, Linux 1 host, to another host via SCP protocol. SCP stands for, as I told you guys, secure copy. The file name and the username and at the rate the IP of the another host and the path. Okay, so let's check this out. So let's check if our machines are up or not. They're about to come up. Don't worry. So I hope you're getting the concepts. So now let's wait. So if you check on this respective host, if that file is present or not, you will simply get that file in the location we have copied the file, and you can choose as per your convenience to where to keep that file and how to use that file and all. Okay, so let's wait for a couple of seconds for these machines to boot up. Cool. They are about to up. Wait for a minute or two. So I hope you got all the concepts today. Today we have covered a lot about the software installation, configuration and management, how to set up the web server, how to configure the web server configuration file, how to set up the firewalls, how to flush up the firewalls, and how to use the grep command. What is the use of grep and how the input and output is transferring from here to there. So grep-i and everything, the pattern matching. So let's wait for some minutes. Okay, I think they are up. Okay, so let's log in from the root account. Oh boy, sorry. I've typed the password over here. It is not a good thing. Okay, let's wait for this machines to be up properly. This first machine is up. So for some easiness or for some sake of purposes of some getting some the concepts much more clearer in our mind, what we'll do is I'm going to change the host name of our first machine. But how to change the host name? The command to change the host name is host name ctl set hyphen host name. Let's say I want to check this on host 1. Okay, but the name is not changed. There's a myth, guys, available in the market. You need to reboot this machine or you need to restart the machine to check the host name is updated or not. This is the biggest myth in the market, which I'm going to clear you in front of you that this is not required. The command is execute bash. Okay, so now this has been updated. There's no need to reboot the machine. This is the biggest myth in the market available, that if you're changing the host name, you need to reboot the machine. But this is not a optimal idea to reboot the machine. Obviously, it will take much of the time. Okay, so now let's now check for our another machine. Okay, it is updated too. So let's zoom in. So host name ctl set hyphen host name host 2 execute. Okay, it is done. So let's check we are able to talk to the internet or not. Ping google.com. Yes, we are able to talk to the internet. And what is the IP of this respective machine? ifconfig web, sorry, enp0s3, the name of the card, and grep inet 192.168.1.23. I hope the IP of the another machine will not be changed. So ifconfig enp0s3 grep inet 192.168.1.21. Okay, so let's create one file. Let's say I want to create a file on a desktop. VIM transferred file. Let's check this file is coming from host 1. Let's save this thing. You can check this out. This file is coming from the host 1. For the purpose of the proof in front of you guys, there's no as such file named transferred underscore file on the host 2 on the desktop. I can prove you this thing. If you're thinking that file is hidden, you can check this out. This is not hidden. Okay, so now I'm going to transfer this file from that Linux host to this Linux host, that host 2. Okay, so we are going to use the scp command. As I told you, the syntax scp, the name of the file transferred. Okay, so root, the username, at the rate, the IP 192.168.1.23 colon the path /tmp. Okay, so I'm going to show you there's nothing in the /tmp folder for the sake of your satisfaction. ls/tmp, there's nothing as such related. You can grab that thing also. Grab transferred, nothing. There is nothing. So we can directly transfer that file. Okay, it is asking for the password. Yes. So I need to enter the password of the root user of that respective machine. Obviously, if I'm reaching out to that machine, I want the password. So the password is, I've entered the password. Okay, I think the file is transferred. It is transferred 100%, and some of the data is also present over here, which is not for our work. So let's check. Okay, the file is here. Let's get this file. Is that file the same as we have transferred? Get /tmp/trans. Okay, this is coming from the host 1, and this is the host 2. So this is how you use the scp command in Linux. How to transfer the files from one Linux host to another Linux host. I hope you are getting the concepts from here. Okay, so cool. So now that's how the scp thing is done. I hope you got all the concepts. So, but let's say I don't want to, go again and again from here to there, change the GUI, and I'm checking again, going from here to there, checking again and again, changing it again and again. But I don't want that. I just want to use the terminal of that machine without switching via GUI. Let's say I'm switching from here to GUI from here to there. This is the host one. I'm switching from here to there again. But I don't want this. I just want to access the terminal of that machine directly here. I don't want to switch again and again. So there's a protocol that is known as SSH. SSH stands for secure shell. SSH. SSH stands for secure shell that you can access uh, the terminal of another machine directly in your local machine. But you want the password of that thing, or you need the something that is key of that thing. If you ever worked with AWS, the thing that is known as PAN key or PPK key, or you need some kind of UB key. Okay, so now SSH, and the syntax will be SSH. The username, if you want to, the username on which you need to SSH, username, and the IP of that machine. That's completely it, or the host name. Okay, so let's check this out. So SSH root @ 192.168.1.23. The password osboxes.org. Okay, we are in the host 2 right now. Perfect. If you won't believe me, guys, I can show you the IP of this machine. ifconfig enp0s3 grep inet. Perfect. We are in the host 2. Okay, this is the power of networking. This is the power of Linux. This is the power of SSH. And the SSH works on port number 22. Okay, so now what you need to do is, if you want that, I don't want to give the password again and again. Seriously, I don't want to give the password again and again and again and again. Okay, so osboxes.org, but I don't want to give this password. This is some kind of a pain in the neck. I want something that is known as passwordless authentication. So there's a concept in the security. There's a greater difference between something, the terms that is known as authorization and authentication, where much of the candidates got confused. So I'm going to clear this concept in your mind right now. The concept of authentication and authorization simply means authentication and the authorization. Authentication simply means where you will use some kind of a password or some key or some of the device, either it is UB key or something which is verified from a fingerprint, UB key. This is a device, and many other devices are also present. So this is known as authentication. You have to give me some of the password or the key or the UB key, something like that. UB key is a hardware device. Okay, so key, I'm going to show you what is the key is. You already checked the password one. Okay, and authorization simply means how much power you have, the privilege you have to perform the respective X, Y, Z task or not. If you have that power, you can perform the task. If you don't have the authority to do that respective task, so that means you're not authorized person to do the task. That means you cannot do that task on your own. That means you're not authorized. Authentication is for the password one, and authorization is for the permissions one. So this is the core concept where much of the beginners got confused. What is the difference between authentication and authorization? Okay, so now I just want something that is known as password-less authentication. This is a pain in the neck that I want to enter in the password again and again, again and again, again and again. This is some kind of a pain in the neck. So now let's create a terminal. So I'm going to generate one key. To generate the key, the command is SSH -keygen. Okay, this command will generate the key, and I'll give this key and I'll copy this key from my host 1 to my host 2, and I'll copy this key from my host 1 to host 2, and host 2 will verify, and the host 2 will verify is this key, and the host 2 will verify is this key is coming from the right source or not. And if the key is matched, that means you're able to log in. That means you don't need to enter the manual password. Technically, this is known as passwordless authentication. Okay, and the key which is generated is RSA key, which is obviously a security concern, which we are not going to deep dive. RSA key. Okay, so there are two types of keys, public one and the private one. Public key and the private key. The public key is copied on another host. The public key is copied on the another host, and the verification is done by a private key. It will check is your each bit of private key is matching, and if it is matched, that means you are able to authenticate. But this is much more, kind of typical concept, okay, which I'm showing this at the very higher level. Okay, private key and public key can be pain in neck also, but this is very high level, that how this is going to check this private key and everything, which I'm not going to tell you right now, which will obviously make you confused. Okay, so check this over high level thing, that public key is copied, and that the verification will be done by private key. If every bit is matched, that means you're able to authenticate. This is technically known as passwordless authentication, and that is this concept is I've told you on the very high level. This can be much more complicated. Okay, so let's generate the keys. SSH-keygen is the command to generate the keys, both public and the private. Okay, so yes, I want to save this respective key in that respective path. Enter. If you want that key to be protected, you can give any kind of passphrase or the password, but I don't want that. No. So the key is generated. As I told you, this is the RSA key. Okay, so but where I can find this key? So let's ls this. I don't think so. This key is present over here. So as you can see, that is present in /root and .ssh. .ssh simply means that respective directory is hidden. Dot means the directory is hidden. So now let's create this terminal. ls-a. Okay. So here I found a hidden directory. SSH. I'm going to go inside this, and I can see ID underscore RSA. This is a public key. Sorry, this is a private key. And this is ID underscore RSA dot pub is a public key which we are going to copy. Known host is a some bit advanced concept which I'm not going to tell you. That simply means you can add the number of hosts which are known. Okay, so directly you don't need to add them again and again. But this is pretty advanced concept which I'm not going to tell you this thing right now. So I'm going to copy the public key. So how to copy? The command is ssh-copy -id. Okay, root @ 192.168.1.23. Okay, this is the first time which you need to give the password. After that, you don't need to give the password. The password is osboxcs.org. The key is added. Now try logging in the machine with this respective password and check to make sure the keys which you have checked are all you wanted were added. Okay, so let's check this thing. Let's create this terminal. So if you want the host name, SSH 192.168.1.23. Okay, congratulations. We have done something that is known as passwordless authentication. Perfect, guys. Host name. And for the sake of purposes, ifconfig grep grep inet. Okay, so this is the whole concept. Okay, I don't think so. We have missed something. We have learned so many concepts today, installing the softwares and the grep command, passwordless authentication, what are the keys and how to generate the keys, how to copy the keys, SCP, many, many, many things, how to check the open ports. I hope you got all of the concepts. So now I'm going to give you some of the tasks. Okay, so okay, I've also told you how to set up the web server. I forgot the main one. Okay, so now I want to give you some tasks. Okay, you need to perform till the Docker's webinar will come up till the next Sunday. Okay, the Docker webinar. Okay, so before that, you need to create the tasks. So you need to perform some of the tasks, which I'm going to write you in front of you right now. vim tasks txt. Okay, so tasks is uh, 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 let's say I'm thinking it on spot. You need to create one file. You need to create one file and via touch command and update that file via vim or anything and check and verify the timestamp. And the output of that timestamp you need to set up in another file via redirection. And output will be redirected to another file. Okay. Create a file via touch command and update the file and update the file with some another data and verify the timestamp, and output will be redirected to another file. And now create, sorry, add some of the data as per your choice and append that data via echo command in the same file. In the same file. Okay. I hope the tasks are not that much typical. So you need to install the software that is known as HTTPD. This is the main one, and set up your own web server. Okay, and create another VM and set up passwordless authentication. But before this, you need to perform something that is known as SCP. Send or copy some files from one Linux host to another Linux host. via SC. So these, I've taught you everything, each bit of these tasks. These are not that much tougher tasks, but you can check this out on your own. Okay, these all of the tasks are important to check up the skills and how much you grabbed from those sessions. Okay, so if you have any kind of doubts, you can please ask in the chat. If you have any kind of doubts, you can ask in the chat. And if not, that's completely okay. Could you please show how you can mount media on Windows machine on VMbox for easy copy without WinSCP? Uh, I don't think so. There is some as such thing available, or rather you can use the FTP server for this mission. You need to create SCP server, sorry, FTP server, okay, or any other Linux machine or something where you can mount all of the files and anything, so that we can uh, sync all of the files and folders within all of many of the virtual machines. This is the only alternative. All or else you can use it directly the WinSCP. What is Yum? Yum is a tool to install the softwares on the Red Hat or the CentOS or Fedora. But now after the new updates for the CentOS 8 and Red Hat 8, the Yum is almost deprecated and DNF is there. Yum is AS as APT. Yeah, obviously it is SAMS. Do you trust AWS Amazon World? Do you trust AWS Amazon World services? Obviously, the services are secured, and I'm working at AWS, so this is. Yum is only a tool to extract repositories or any other function is there. Yum is available till 7.5. It had 7.5 or 7 CentOS 7.5, but now DNF is there. How to run GUI program on CLI VM? There's something that is known as SSH or something. The command which is related. But I don't think so. This is much more feasible solution. The the commands which are used for the terminal CLI are much more far powerful than the GUI one. We can use Windows 10 to use SSH to Linux machine. Yes, you can use that, but I don't think so. This is the feasible solution. Load balancer, load application balancer, AWS. This is not AWS class. After generating key in host 1, how we verified in host 2? If you generated the key in the host 1, okay, obviously you need to copy that respective key to another host, and when you copy that respective key on another host, it will automatically verify. Is Yum used for every Linux distribution? No, Yum is not for every Linux distribution. It will not work on Ubuntu. How to complete task video or images? I'm not getting the question, Rohit. How to transfer file in Linux to Windows? You can use directly Windows, na? Sorry, WinSCP. You can use directly the WinSCP thing. And as I showed you, let's check this thing. As I showed you, please focus on the screen. As I showed you, the left one will be the Windows and right one will be the Linux. You can transfer from the Windows to Linux or Linux to Windows. So 192.168.1.21 and the password is root. Sorry, username is root and the password is obviously the defined one. So you can copy the files from the Linux host to Windows also directly. The regex one is here. Okay, so let's verify. It is copied. I hope you got the concept. Why we are going for Docker? Because of container. Docker is a container runtime, and many other container runtimes are present like Podman, Cryo, Rocket, and many more. But Docker is the leader one. Namespace is a different thing which we are going to cover in Docker. Any other questions? Could you please continue classes? Let's see. Why softwares come from with RPM extension? RPM stands for Red Hat Package Manager. This is made for the Linux distribution like Fedora, CentOS, and Red Hat. And if you have concentrated on the Ubuntu one, okay, so there you'll find the softwares with deb.deb extension. Deb stands for Debian. Okay, how to run a GUI program like Firefox or host one from host 2 and get output on host 2 only. This is obviously possible. You can integrate some other things, but GUI is not as now supported over the SSH thing. You can only use a terminal. Difference between APT and yum. That is APT is for Ubuntu, yum is for CentOS one or Red Hat one, but both are package managers. Fingerprint simply means that this is a verified, and fingerprint is generated from the software vendor. So fingerprints are just for a verification that the software is verified. Thank you so much, Anoop. Thank you, Kaushal. Any other questions, guys? We're running out of time. Does Docker classes need knowledge of Linux? Obviously, this is a prerequisite. Thank you, Pranjal. Th Thank you, Abhijit. How to submit a task? You need to ask the other people. Which keyboard shortcuts you use to clear the screen? I just use the clear command. Thank you, Saurav, for your kind words. Thank you, Manshu. Thank you, Siddharth. I want to do Red Hat certification. How do I prepare for it? You need to study from books and online and everything. So yeah, that's all I can share it right now. If I have a Linux Bible, I should go read it. Linux books are too much, thick, and the books for the Linux, for the Red Hat, and the other examinations are not that much easy to read out. Thank you for a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you, Dhananjay. How you remove a directory that is not empty? Okay, to remove a directory, just focus on the screen. How to remove a directory? This is a great question. Let's say that a directory which I need to remove. Let's say I want to remove this directory, Ashutosh underscore directory. So what I'm going to do is rm-rf remove and remove forcefully. Okay, the hyphen r is for the directory one, and I want to remove the directory that is in Ashutosh underscore directory. Yes, it is removed. The command, if you break this command, rm stands for the remove, hyphen r stands for the directory, and hyphen f means forcefully. Okay. Thank you, Leela. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Farhad. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Shiva Ranjani. I'm so sorry if I haven't pronounced your name correctly. If the directory is not empty, obviously the directory is not empty, that's why. Yeah, you can say R is for recursive, but recursive one is not that much friendly for the beginners. That's why I have to put the directory. Recursive is much more complicated. Yeah, R is for recursive, but as I haven't used the recursive word here, that net for not to confuse you guys, because the recursive thing will lead to some of the, let's say, recursive functions too, which will obviously confuse you. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Kaushal, again. So we are almost out of the time. And thank you, Vishwajit. Thank you, 02_Rutuja. There are many, many, many. What is a D means yum.repos.d? D simply means that this is a directory. You can use anything, but that's not much important. What is curl? Curl is used to check up your web server is working or not via local terminal only. Thank you, Misha. Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you, Vinyas S. Thank you, Siddharth, again. Thank you all for your kind words, guys. Docker is a container runtime, Vivek. We'll see that in the Docker sessions. Thank you, Sanchita. Thank you, K. Bhaskar Reddy. Kali Linux, we can. I don't have much familiar with Kali Linux. Yes, Abhijit, you can ask me questions on LinkedIn too. Sir, CentOS will be used for Docker? No, you can install Docker on any platform. Port number simply means where that respective service is listening to. Like the HTTP port is for port number 80, that means the service is listening on port number 80. Abdullah, I don't have much familiarity with the Kali Linux. You can search it on online. CLI is much more powerful than GUI. Thank you, DNF install. DNF install coffee. Thank you, Akash. Vivek, as I told you, Docker is a container runtime. So now, as per the convenience, you can change the port number if you need. If you need to. To change the port number, you can use the scmanage command or something. Okay, we are ending up this session right now. Thank you so much, guys, for coming here.